All I want to do is zoom, 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 I'm a boom, boom. All I want to do is just shake the room. How are we, everybody? Welcome back to the Gentleman's Talk. Here I am, finally. But it's bank holiday weekend, so I have been doing what I said I should be doing. What I'm telling you to do, I'm trying to actively do myself. So I've had that work-life balance, as we talk about, because as much as I'm committed to doing this, I absolutely do love doing it. I really... Oh, God, that's my fucking toe. I really do love doing this. But at the same time, I recognise the fact that I do have to give time to my family. And I have to give time to myself. That's what I'm telling you to do. And that's what I'm doing. I'm getting that work-life balance. Still getting this in because it's the enjoyable aspect of my life. But at the same time, I would be an absolute hypocrite, which 9 times out of 10 I am, because it's really good for me to give. I love giving advice. I love supporting people. I love helping people. It's just what I love doing. However, sometimes I do have to listen to my body, and it is one of those ones where basically I fitted a floor. I fitted a floor. I told you I helped my mother-in-law, and I laid the floor for a bungalow, and I did. It ruined me for about 3 or 4 days. Like physically, I keep forgetting that I am in my 40s now, and my body doesn't quite do what it used to do in its 20s and 30s in most aspects. So at the same time, I did my full week, and then, I laid the floor down in my kitchen because I wanted parquet style flooring in the kitchen, and that sort of real nice wood effect. And by the way, it's not parquet flooring because that would make me sound like a right snob. I must remove that fact straight away. No, it's parquet style, so it's like it's the laminate version, but it's parquet style, so it doesn't look like that laminate. I think laminate nowadays. I'm not going to digress into that because that's fucking mental. I was about to as well, actually. Stop. No, James, you don't need to talk about fucking laminate flooring, you DIY douchebag. But yeah, I do. I've been giving myself that work-life balance, and I thought, well, it's the weekend. It's a bank holiday weekend. I was really excited to have the bank holiday weekend. And, I banged on some, as you can tell in the background, this has been my music choice of the weekend, which is some 90s and 20s, 2000s. I don't think you can say 20s because it's not the 20s. Style of a rap and R&B. So I've just been absolutely smashing that out all weekend, and it started actually on Friday. So I had a bit of this is the work-life balance. This is what the purpose of the work-life balance creates, and what it creates is opportunities and experiences. And for me, when you get the work-life balance right, I mean, I'm far from getting it right, but I'm getting better as I get older. I think to be perfectly honest, if I'm being honest, which I am, as you get older, you tend to your priorities. And I'm going to give you so much synopsis of why I know my life's changed dramatically, but for the better, because of the right reasons, because I'm doing the right things. So, like I said, I'm investing in people what they invest in me. So it's a mutual agreement. So for me, it was really, really rewarding from me, because I naturally am somebody who always gives 110%, no matter what, because I that's just my personality. I like helping people. As I said to you just a minute ago, I like helping people, I like supporting people. But at the same time, we all talk about that investment process, don't we? And you've listened to me for well over a year now to know that investment process needs to work. Well, a lot of the time I didn't do that due diligence to myself. I didn't sort of really think about it much. I just went, oh, that makes me happy. But at the same time, you've got to invest what you're getting out, because for that way, then like I said, it's a mutual agreement across the board. You're not getting yourself angry by over giving and not receiving back the same. And for me, because I'm removing that little anger ball out of my bubble, and like I said, opportunities are being created because of my new work-life balance. So one thing I've incorporated into my life is every single fucking Wednesday is snooker and beer night, and it's a fantastic thing. So me and my best mate, we decided, right, we need to just get something going. Do you know what I mean? We need to start investing in ourselves, not just sitting by week to week, into fucking weekends, and trust me, this does involve my family as well, but me and my mate started it because at the end of the day, friends are such an important part to all men. Irrelevant of family, irrelevant of, we all have these priorities in life. And when you look at women, and I'm not going to say, I will caveat, because we're in a world of fucking having to caveat everything, but I will say that I'm not labeling anybody. I'm just saying my opinion. Okay, it's my opinion, all right, and it's not meant in any negative or derogative term. But I will caveat the fact that I am born in the 80s, so my life is predominantly or massively different to today's generations. So it's really, really hard for me to understand what you will get offended by. But I'm just going to say it anyway. So for me, women, and I look at this through my own experiences of my mum and my wife and my mother-in-law and my nan and my gran. And inherently, all of the women that I know in my bubbles and even friends and stuff like that, they absolutely fucking dote on their children. Their children are their lives. If their children aren't involved, then 9 times out of 10 the husband will, or partner or fiance or whatever, will also be, their world, if you like. And that's the way women think. That's the way women invest in themselves. They invest in what's around them in that sense. It's like, I'm going to give you 110%. Now, the reason I say that is because predominantly that's why men get a harder time. Because if you're a man, like if you're not a man, I'm speaking from my experiences, but say for instance, my dad, his relationship now, that doesn't revolve around children anymore. So my mum knows that her children, so my brother and my sister and myself, we've all flown off. We've all done our own thing. We're all just living our fucking lives. We don't need our parents realistically anymore. We should be able to navigate our way through life. Yes, it's really, really great. And the whole thing about this is understanding that family bolsters our support network. So I think they're really invaluable in that sense. But we don't rely on them as much as we get older. And as we go through our lives and we create our own families and our own friendships and everything else, we just do our own thing. A lot of people fuck off to different countries and everything else. They have this fantastic ideology and they just go and do, and they should. It's their life. And I commend people, that children that fucking do that. I did. I got an ultimatum, if you like, when I was 16, 17, I think it was. And the ultimatum was I was treating my mum and dad's house like a fucking doss house. I was just sleeping there the odd day here and there. I was going in and having tea there and then going home to my girlfriend's house. At the time, is now my wife. So that's how long we've been together. But for me, it's kind of I used to just basically treat my parents like a fucking doss house. I really did. And I can understand through that perspective. I got an ultimatum when I was younger, and I went, okay, well, the ultimatum was, you're ever living here, mate, and you're coming back every night, so I know you're safe and fucking all that jazz. Well, you're moving on. What are you fucking doing? Because at the moment, I'm feeding you and everything else. You're not paying fucking rent. You're over there. And I was typical fucking bloke. And I chose to fuck off. I was like, see you later. Okay, I don't need you in that sense. I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean it as in like, yeah, fuck it, let's embrace life. And I was very much like that. And I know that there's a lot of people that aren't like that. They'll sit around for fucking years. Me, I didn't. 16, almost 17, I fucked off and never looked back. Never ever went back. And that was me. That was just the way it was. But for me, and before I digress into another field here, for me, women, they tend to do that. So when I look at, how they evolve around life, and the whole point of this really is men don't have that. We rely, we have, why do you think we call it bromances, and why do we call real close friends brothers? It's because that's where we are. It's everything that's encompassed in men. We find our really weird. It's not from a sexual perspective at all. Unless you're in that way inclined. But for men to men, it's that camaraderie. It's that fucking getting ripped into. It's fucking sexually. If you want, I'm making myself fucking getting ripped into, fucking son. But it's just about taking the piss, having banter, having fun, feeling fucking like you've got a team behind you. So for men to have the right people around you is invaluable. It's absolutely invaluable. And I do I look at a lot of the men. They're not predominantly, and I'm going to say this, and this is meant as a bit of a joke, but when you look at, I heard this the other day, and you look at lesbians, and they're both predominantly quite miserable. They're quite miserable, and then you look at sort of men and women in their in their marriages, and they're quite miserable. Girlfriends, boyfriends, they're quite miserable. You look at a couple of gays, a couple of homosexuals, they're happy as Larry. Because that's how, and it's men in the contest it's in. But it sort of balls up in a joke, the camaraderie, and that's the whole thing with men. That's it. It's not meant in a negative sense, but it's just meant in that, men find a lot of fun, laughter. We all treat it like, let's have a fucking beer and all that. And like I said, that's what we've developed. So me and my friend decided we would just develop this a little bit further than just chatting and just fucking chatting on WhatsApp and saying how's things. We were like, no, we need to get together. And so we got somewhere to go, to moan, to fucking put the world to rights, to chat to somebody that, what would you do if you won the fucking lottery? All these questions, all these, how long can you fucking dunk a biscuit for? That was a conversation I had in the pub the other day. And we were going through the biscuits in the pub. And we were talking about the best biscuits for dunking. I mean, obviously, we all know a rich tea is a shit biscuit to fucking dunk. But, you hit up the custard creams and the bourbons. You're in there. You're in there for a decent fucking haul there. You can get some good seconds. Good soakage on the tea. Good tea soakage. But, and that's the type of conversation. I think women think we go to these fucking places and talk about crazy batshit, like women and... we do talk about women, tits and all the good stuff, all the jazz. That's what men do. But it's a place to piss and moan. It's a place to have a fucking little bit of free time. And we've been doing that on a Wednesday. And we started playing snooker. I've played snooker before. He hasn't, but he's my mate's a bit of a fucking shark on me sometimes. But I've just won April. So we broke it down into months as well. So we're going to play every week, 2 games a week. With a pint, and then it's just a couple of hours just to get out. We meet up. It's just socialising. It's getting back into the norm of socialising. It's keeping it at a cost that's affordable. We've got this membership for this club for £25 for the year, and it's just a place to fucking go, just to literally go and have a laugh. We go out. We don't even sit in the pub. We go out the back room. So the back room is where the snooker tables are. We sit there. We chill. We chew the fat. We fucking put the worlds to rights. And then what we did, and this is where having the right people around you and doing the right things and sort of draws it in really in a nice way, is that led to, at the end of the conversation on Wednesday was, mate, we were literally in the car park saying see you later. And he said, mate, we'll have to fucking catch up. It's been fucking weeks. Although when I say catch up, I mean proper catch up, as in let's get fucking smashed, let's do some fucking crazy shit, let's have a fucking bit of a wild time. It's been too long. And it had been about 3 or 4 weeks since the last time we'd got fucking shedded and fucking played, poker and all the other fucking things we were doing. So in the car park, Bosh, there it was. See you later, mate. We'll have to sort some out. He said, well, I'll see. Well, maybe in the next couple of weeks. Transpired that Friday morning, confirmed, he's coming fucking round. So for me, that was like, and that led into Friday. That led into, having a fucking blinding Friday night, starting my bank holiday weekend with my mate, just fucking chatting till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. We were playing poker online. It was absolutely hilarious. I don't remember much of the night because I was a bit drunk, but it was a good night, and you got to blow the cobwebs off. And then Saturday, you just sort of kind of a little bit hungover, but it's a subdued day, and it broke into the weekend. And I've had a fantastic fucking weekend, actually. A really nice, relaxing one. Like I said, it's that work-life balance. I know that it's really important for our own mental health that we do things and we make the effort and we get out and about. It's really important that we do that. But there's also, encompassed with work-life balance is so much more. It is having hobbies. It is socialising a little bit with your friends. It is having a good family sort of support network. It is having good friends. It is looking after your weight and your alcohol, drug consumption, whatever you want to do, whatever floats your boat. But, everything has to be done in moderation. It really, really does. And you have to look after yourself. Otherwise, the be-all and end-all of it is you just go downhill, and you really, really fucking do. And it goes down like a click of a fingers. Like, literally, you can just subside. There's days, and this is sort of brings me in, actually, in a nice little neat way into sort of mental health minefield, and what I mean by the mental health minefield is life's like, I think for me, life at the moment is difficult for a lot of people, so it's really hard to say what causes mental health stress. Maybe we worry too much about certain things. I think that men put a lot of pressure on ourselves to try and succeed and bring the bacon home and provide and do all the other good things that we try to do. I certainly do. I know that's a big stressor for me, but at the same time, there's a lot of stress that comes with life. In general, things come with life, and the reason I'm quite sort of comfortable, and I see why the statistics are drawn to men between in their sort of mid-30s to mid-40s. I can see why the stress levels are there so fucking harshly for that section, because that is predominantly when men are having families. They're trying to succeed in work, they're trying to succeed with themselves. They've also let themselves go because there's no need to go to the gym. They don't see their friends as much because they've got their family. So all of these things, when you cast your mind back to men when they're younger, the reason that they're fucking flyboy, fucking hooligans, is because it's a free for all for young men. They don't have any responsibilities. They're driven by testosterone and all the other good stuff that's going around you. They're fairly fit and healthy. So you can understand why men have got all this fucking testosterone dragging through their fucking body and going, let's fucking fight, fucking whatever, and that's all that they want to do, and that's why they're a bit of a nightmare if they're not managing their own mental health in terms of everything in moderation. And it starts really, I think, from that age, when you start getting into the realms of earning money and everything else. If you're not disciplined, then you're going to struggle later on in life. A lot of people nowadays, and I think that I think most men nowadays or the new generation, they seem to be fairly confident with themselves, and I don't think they stress as much. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch. I probably am out of touch, to be fair. I know that there's still generations that do struggle, but for me, I think they've got it kind of right. I think they've kind of, when you're young, dumb, and full of cum, that's why the fucking saying goes there. It's a mental health minefield, but you can bounce back fairly easy. You're quite resilient. You're not very emotional. As you get older, that just gets tougher and tougher and tougher. And then along with life, you're also trying to raise families. You're trying to be protector. You're trying to make sure everybody's fucking happy. You often at the detriment of your own fucking health. Sometimes you can be in toxic friendships, toxic relationships, toxic work environments. All of these are key indicators. Or key factors, that are going to absolutely impact you for the rest of your life. If you've got any of those toxicity, that's a word, I cast your mind back early fucking podcast day, I can't say that word, but if you have that toxic, it's fucking going to annoy me. If you get toxicity, I think I said it then. If you've got that around you, it's going to nurture. It's going to manifest and nurture into a deeper feeling. So if you've got a really poor relationship, say you've got a poor partner who's not supporting you, not there for you, that's going to impact you quite fucking heavily. And to give you an idea of why, and I'm in a house full of girls. Now, that's not I'm not fucking Hugh Hefner. I mean, as in I've got 3 daughters and my wife. And I'm at a stage now where it's a constant fucking minefield. And I cast my mind back to my uncle a few years back. He's in the same situation. He had his wife and 3 daughters. And he struggled. And he said, you know what? I just struggle with the mood swings. I struggle with all this. And when I talk about how children impact our lives anyway, this is a big impact for me. So I go through this, the menstrual, and the reason this is quite a fresh conversation, because I was having the conversation today. Because I was sat there going, we were talking about, I was sort of saying how my wife at the moment is a little bit more affectionate. And she's, it's an unusual thing for me because I probably don't really pay attention. But she has a menstrual cycle but as you all know, women go a bit fucking batshit crazy for that period of time. Now, I can understand to a degree. I've heard it now because I've got 3 daughters and my wife, so I know to great details and lengths of how much of a struggle it is for them. And I will caveat that in a minute with a little bit of men's mental health and a little bit of the way we're seen in this. But we give them that time of day. And I said to her, that's fine. But, for 2 weeks, you've been cold as fuck. You've been a right fucking bitch. She was like, no, I haven't. I was like, you fucking have. You've been cold as fuck with me. You're not affectionate. And this is like, and then if I've not got it from you, then I've got my daughters giving me shit because they're going through it. And that bounces from week to fucking week. So you never really know where the fuck you stand. So when I talk about mental health minefields, that's something I don't know what I'm walking into. Like my daughter came down today, to give you an example, she wanted me to change the word screen to make it larger. And I was like, look, I don't know what you mean. She's like, to make it larger so that I can press right. And I was like, that's a PowerPoint thing. And she was like, yeah, but that won't go into PowerPoint. I was like, yeah, because you've got two different applications and you're trying to make one application do what another application doesn't do. I don't get this. And then I said, I looked and I went, I just don't fucking get it, really. And I was like, I don't get what you're fucking saying. She was like, all right, well, you don't have to swear about it. And like proper kicked off at me. And I've stood there going, I don't know what I did wrong. I'm telling you factually that doesn't happen. I can't make that happen. I don't know what you want me to do. I can't do. Your information is obsolete because I don't know what to do. You're giving me shit. And I remember turning to my wife and I looked at her and I went, have I done something wrong? She was like, oh, no. Time of month, mate. And I went, oh, fucking fab. And I get it, but that's a mental health minefield for me. So for me as a dad, there's probably loads of you that are dads out there that can relate to that. And if you've got a batshit toxic fucking partner, and I must say, yeah, to caveat that with, and my argument today was, I said to her, so what is it then? We have to acknowledge that you have this menstrual cycle and you go through pain and you go through fucking all this jazz, all this fucking stuff that I'll never fucking really experience, I'll never really know. And then I turned around and said, well, so I've got a really, really high testosterone count. So, what does that mean to me then? So I've got a really high sex drive. I've got, I build muscle fairly quickly. I'm very angry all the fucking time. To not be angry, I have to literally subdue myself and completely switch off from the fucking world to not make myself this angry person. Yet when I'm seen like that and in an uncontrollable hormone in my fucking body, that I'm seen as the arsehole because my personality doesn't know how to mask a natural hormone. Whereas you don't have to mask your natural hormone. You're quite cold, blunt, and I just have to fucking suck it up. And that's that. You'll eat a bit more chocolate, and then, probably a week before you might be a little bit horny and I'm like, oh God, what's this batshit crazy? There's all these. So where's the minefield for men then? So how do I control my fucking hormones? But I've got to subdue it. I can't go around walking around fucking angry, can I? But if you're a woman and a woman goes fucking batshit crazy and she says, John, time the month, oh, it's okay then. It's a minefield. So that was my argument today. I said, well, you haven't ever fucking sat there and wondered what's it like for me. You just see it as, oh God, you want this all the time, and I'm like, fucking hell, you don't know what it's like to control this. I'm fucking tugging Tommy fucking 20 times a day, love. I'm battering him out. He's puffing out fucking sawdust, mate. Brain still wants to go. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's weird how that we're, again, as men, we get told to just suck it up. It's a natural fucking hormone. And we're talking about it a little bit more nowadays. A lot of scientists are talking about testosterone and how it's a fucking crazy drug. I mean, Christ, bodybuilders just pump more of it into their body to get fucking bigger and more angry, So it's kind of like, it's such an important drug, and we produce it naturally, but we can't control it. Some people can. Some people, if you look at my friend Kieran, I don't think he's got an ounce of testosterone in it. I think he's all estrogen. I've told him this because he's literally fucking chilled out, just got a little bit of testosterone, obviously, but he's just fucking super relaxed for a man. He's super, super relaxed. But we have to suck this up. We have to and this is the mental health minefield I'm talking about. So I could be having a bad day, and then I'm expected to walk through the fucking door and just suck it up and just go. And if I argue back, then I'm the arsehole. And then when they storm off, it's like, it's me that's the problem. And if I say something out of turn, I've got to fucking apologise. Even though I might have had a really fucking shit day and I've been out. The fact of the matter is I've done something fucking wrong. And all of this, all adds to the difficulties of just life in general. We have to manage these things. We don't, if something comes through the door and it's unexpected bill, who's expected to find the money for that unexpected bill? 9 times out of 10, it's the man. Even in separated partnerships, it's like the fucking kids. And I've heard this numerous times. Our kid needs to go on fucking holiday. I've said yes, coming out of your fucking money. Oh, is it? Oh, is it now? Do you know what I mean? But you're just expected. It's just it's an expectation for men in general to, if there's something that comes through the door, you will work it out. And 9 times out of 10, we will work it out because we have to fucking work it out because we're designed to work shit out. That's what we're designed to do. However, there's always repercussions with everything. And if you're in a world where it's constantly changing and everything's constantly changing, when do you expect to be able to look after yourself, to keep making those ultimate decisions, finding out the ways to, decipher everything? When are you going to do that? When are you going to have the opportunity to do that? If you're depleting your batteries 24/7 and not giving yourself the work-life balance, when do you expect? Do you just expect an endless supply of fucking energy in your body? No, it doesn't work like that, people. Your body needs to recuperate. If you're only getting 3 or 4 hours sleep at best, like I was, and to be honest, if I didn't take fucking sleeping tablets to go to sleep, I would be the same. I am constantly awake with worry. My dad's exactly the same. He gets severe anxiety as he's got a lot older. He sits up and worries about things because I suppose he's getting older. But I say to him, like he said, he gets up at he'll go to bed at sort of 10, 11 o'clock and he'll be up at 3 in the morning. And I'm like, and they'll go downstairs and he'll be watching TV for a bit and drifting in and out of sleep, but he's awake, so he's thinking. And I'm like, your body's not recharging. You're not giving yourself. And then you're wondering why you're getting ill, why you're falling fucking down, why you're making mistakes. And I say this to all of my friends. I say, if you don't look after yourself and give yourself that work-life balance to look after your mental state, everything's going to become harder. Everything's going to be a challenge. And it's going to get to the point where just, like it was for me, just fucking getting up's the challenge some days. I still get that. This morning, this morning. No, what's today? It's Monday. That's what's throwing me. Normally I do this on a Sunday, but work-life balance. So yesterday, I just didn't want to get out of bed. I woke up on Sunday morning and I don't want to face the fucking world. And it just comes out of nowhere. There's nothing you can do about it. And then you can be miserable. And then you're going down to your mental health minefield where you're walking around, tiptoeing around your fucking house. Am I going to get into shit? Let's see how everybody is. Am I doing something? And then and you don't realise that even sometimes I text my daughter, because I haven't seen my daughter for 3 or 4 days. She's been staying at a friend's house. And I text my daughter to say, how are you? And she was like, yeah, I'm okay, Dad. I have some good days and I have some bad days. And I was like, okay. Whew, I don't really know what to fucking say to that, because you just don't expect it. And it's like, that was just a general chit chat, just a little how you doing? And you get hit with that. And that's another mental health minefield that's repercussions. I now have the repercussions dealing with it in my head because it drags everything up. And then, for me, it's kind of, that's the mental state. It was even like fucking Friday. I remember I was talking to my mate. I was like, yeah, I'm going to say, and I was showing him this fucking tool I've got. He said, fucking hell, mate, that's a fucking tool. And I'm not meaning a big knife. I was talking about, I bought this fucking brand new hammer. And I was showing him it. And he was like, I said, yeah, this is going to take some teeth out, just as a bit of banter. And he was like, no, put that down, mate. Put that fucking down, mate. And it's like, but that's your mental state, and that's how quickly things can change. And that's why sometimes if you don't do the right things, give yourself that work-life balance, look after yourself, eat healthy, etc., everything will just become harder. It really, really will. And there's not much you can do about it. You will just sink into that demise. I was talking actually to a good friend of a new friend. I say he's a good friend of mine. I know him very well. But we've recently reconnected, if you like. And the one I was talking about, my mate Mark, I was talking about, who's doing the 10K for 10K. And for me, it's just chatting to him. He's like, dude, I have the same issues here and there, not as quite as deep as yours, but I have the same issues with families and stuff, and it gets me down. And it's amazing how just talking to him, about his things, and he's going to come on the show now. I'm going to do a live. I'm going to book a live in with him. Actually, I want to get him on the show just to have a chat with him. So, but for me, it's listening to his story. It validates mine as well in the nice sense. I mean, as in, like, it makes me feel like I'm normal, that I'm going through those normal pressures. So it's almost like, because when you're dealing with, adverse pressures that you're not used to, you understand that that's an adverse pressure. That, like I said, the thing with my eldest daughter that I've unfortunately still dealing with. For me, it's. I still have to process that on a daily basis. I still have to work. I still have to deal with the police. I'm still waiting for CPS. We're still waiting for evidence. And I'm still doing the fallout with my daughter, who's her own mental health minefield, understandably, at the moment. But what it does do is, for me, is it validates things in the sense that when you talk to other men, it's really valuable to understand that other people are going through similar things, and family and daughter, and I know I talked to my mate Nelly and I talked about his daughter, and even just sons, just in general, children in general bring a massive headache to families' lives. And the reason I say that it's become a rewarding stage from all of my hard work over the last year and a half is the fact that we went out today. It was just me and my wife. We popped into town, and we just took a walk around town, and it was just us. And it's become just us the last couple of weeks, and it's been nice in a sense. And I don't mean that in a negative sense, but if you've got kids, you'll know what I mean. It's become nice that we haven't got someone in tow 24/7. We're not going into town, and when you go into town, you want to buy yourself a fucking drink. It's not buy yourself a drink. You've got to then I had to buy 3 fucking drinks. So the point there that I wouldn't have my own drink, I would share with my wife. It was little things like that, because you don't realise that if I was going to have a drink, my wife, it's or whatever we're going to have, or something to eat, you're talking it's an average price for 2 people. But when you inflate that to 6 to 5 people, it just goes astronomical, and that becomes another mental health minefield. But I realised that this weekend it was quite nice. We sat there and we've been very much in the point. We're very much in that factor now that I saw my parents when I became 16 and I fucking joined the RAF and fucked off, never come back. My brother did the same. He left at 16 and never came back. But I look at them and I look at what happened, and they were in this sort of similar time frame of age group, and all of a sudden they went from having children to not having children, to nobody, to literally. And my mum, she actually she did have a bit of a mental health breakdown, because she was so used to having all of the niceties and that comes with having a family, the noise and all the other jazz. I say niceties in their fast and loosest terms, but for everything that comes with family, that just disappears, and you go from having a noisy house to nothing. So there's an element of, like, part of me is like, cherish that, which I do now, and again that forms the work-life balance, and it has formed the work-life balance over the last 6 months, where I've really gripped. Like I said, for me, last year was the start of my journey to talk, open up, be open and honest about myself, and do all of those steps that I've been talking to you about nurturing the right people around you. And I've hit some some bumps along the way, and we all will, because mental health isn't, unfortunately, something we can control, and it doesn't allow us time or warn us when it's going to strike. So you can all of a sudden be going along, and you could be having a slight decline in your mental health and not really understand much, but you would see key triggers if you were an outsider looking in, which is why I'm trying to educate people. But at the same time, you'll get to a point where it's just all of a sudden you'll just wake up and go, I don't fucking want to be here. Fuck it, I've had enough. This is fucking bullshit. But that's been going on for 6 months. You just don't realise it. You've not picked up the signs. And that's what happened with me. I went through, mask was on, I was firmly fucking succeeding in work, and then it took a few years, but the cracks started to show. And then the cracks start to show, and then you just keep plastering over the fucking cracks until the cracks can't be plastered anymore. You've like, dude, you ain't got enough fucking plaster for this. This is done. This is a canyon now. I relate mental health a little bit to Ice Age. and this has become apparent, when he puts the acorn in the ice and stamps on it, and then literally that the acorn is you trying to pack things in the mental health. That's the way I look at it. Is you've got this acorn of mental health shit, and then you're trying to pack it into this fucking brain of yours, and you're stamping down on it going, yeah, leave it. No, fuck that. I'm going to bury that emotion. No, that's a little sign there. No, I'm not going to cry. No, I'm going to man up, mate. Fucking man up. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Oh, I'm going to go and do a bit more gym now. And then I'm going to eat really unhealthy, and I'm going to become fucking fat and slovenly, and I'm not going to be interested in life, and I'm just going to let fucking hair grow and all this stuff. And, you let it all go a little bit, and you wonder why. And then all of a sudden you just do that last little knock, and then fucking bosh, you open up a crater of life. And that's if you watch the Ice Age, you'll know what I mean. And then that's it. And then when that crack appears, that's it. That's you. And that's the crack is you watch it splinter, and then it just fucking consumes your brain. The mental health darkness. It's gloomy. And then you just bang down those fucking shutters, and you go, fuck this world, and you become a absolute fucking bellend. Irrelevant. You will be a bellend at some point in your life. If you look at a man who's normally, he's a fucking bit of a bellend, he's got something under his fucking shell that he's not wishing to expose. And that is very much you could say that about most people, you really could. But with men, I think, for me, I've met some fucking men in my time. I've worked obviously in the Royal Air Force, so for me, you work a massively male dominated force. It really was, and obviously I've worked alongside armies for most of my life with my family, massively male dominated force. Obviously, probably not so much now, but we are talking about my generation. So for me, whenever I've met a fucking knobhead throughout my time, and I've gone, I don't fucking like you. There's elements, you'll get key elements, and I always equate it that, I was chucked into a 20-man room when I first joined up, and you did everything with these 20 men. You showered in communal showers. The toilets were just a little fucking box, it was all open underneath and open on top. You never had any privacy. That was your joining up. But I guarantee if you chuck me into a room with those 20 people, at least one person in there I will not get on with. And it was factual. There was a guy I never, Graham his name was, and I never got on with him. And to the point where we had a fucking full-on fight in the next. We were actually on the same training course, so we did 12 weeks basic training, and then we went off to trade training. And it was in trade training because we were in the same trade. He just fucking annoyed me. He just literally was still in the fucking thing, and he was chomping off at giving it the big licks, but in a nasty sort of sense. Just fucking hit him. I was just like, have a bit of that, mate. But that all stemmed from that was like 12, 15 weeks in the making before that happened. But that's life. You're going to get people that you're not going to get on with. But however, if you look at someone who's a fucking bellend at work, or a bellend on fucking someone around you, and he's just genuinely a bit of a knob, he's got something going on. There's something in his life that is very toxic, and he can't get rid of it. And that is the truth of the matter is. There's something he can't get rid of, which is why he's becoming a knob. And that doesn't justify why he's doing that, and I'm not saying it is a reason to do that. It's up to him. It's his he needs to be accountable for his own mental health. And unfortunately, that is what's happening now. And what happens with men is our mental health grows, we lose fucking control, and then it always spills out. It spills out like to other fucking people, and that's unfortunately what happens. And for me, I think that's the importance of understanding mental health. If you are being that bellend and you are being that person, then perhaps there's something in your life that is toxic that you're not getting rid of, and that is absolutely what we need to be looking at. Sorry, my music just died there and I didn't know what happened. My throat went a bit dry as well. I was trying to sip. I've got a cheeky Thatcher's, so bear with me. I've got Thatcher's Cloudy Lemon. You know me, I like my drinks when I do my bodies. I like a sip of and this is a bit of cloudy lemon. And that's the mental health minefield. And the reason I say that is because I've been reflecting quite heavily on why my mood's been a bit subdued. I haven't been as interested in life at the moment, and I don't understand why. There's no reason why, because like I said, I'm trying to do the right things. I've engaged in more with my mate, and we've made a bit of a competition into it. You know, he's actually going above and beyond, because I know he was never into snooker, but he's playing snooker because I enjoy it. And that's led into, you know, the weekend, and we had a fucking blinding Friday night. So things should be going right, but there's other factors, and the reason I say this is because I think I'm maturing in the sense of understanding my body and my mind, to know that we have to accept that things are going to go wrong sometimes. We have to accept that. We have to understand, but what we do have to do in this mental health minefield is look after ourselves. And like I said, if you're a bellend and your fucking knobbery is fucking spilling out over the sides, then look at yourself inwardly. And this is talking directly now to people that maybe know they're arrogant or a bit of a fucking knob. Is there something in your fucking life that's making you toxic? Are you in a toxic relationship? Are you in a toxic work environment that you're not really happy, but maybe you're locked into it because you're financially committed to that role? Well, these are all things that you put on yourself and you're not willing to move on for. If you're in a relationship that you're not willing to move on for, why? And this is an interesting question. And it's a bit of a two-piecer, because I talk about how, you know, men should fucking, you know, if they're not happy, because I can guarantee if a woman isn't happy in their relationship, they will leave tomorrow. And why is that the case? Because predominantly men have to fill that gap. They have to fill that extra financial gap. So all of these things are sometimes why people stay in toxic relationships, toxic friendships. Maybe they're financially committed. Because at the same time, if a man leaves a relationship, irrelevant of whether it's his fault or not, he is penalised very, very heavily financially for a long period of time. And that is why men sometimes, and these are all key factors why sometimes men are fucking knobheads when they go into work and they go, I just know I'm going to get fucking screwed, mate. So I'm just, and that's when alcohol comes into play, and then they become a bit more toxic. They almost get to the point where they're trying to be toxic to try and force the relationship to go. There's so many factors in life, and the reason I say this is because that's the I think the little side note to this is that's life. You have to be able to be accountable to understanding what is toxic in your life. Can you remove it? If you can't remove it, can you dampen it down, add a bit of water to remove the fucking toxicity out of it? Do you see what I mean? These are all key things that we need to take charge of. It's not going to go right, and it's not going to make your life fucking all of a sudden, you know, you're a multi-millionaire. Christ, that's the start of the podcast. I said, we're in a very tough time. That's life at the moment. Life is tough for a lot of people. A lot of people. Unless you're fucking super rich, you're fucking, life is fairly tough for some people out there. Some big people, and are making really tough decisions between rent, food, and energy. So there's a lot of key factors in this. And if you're getting kicked in the dick by life just by doing that, what is going on? There's houses now. I mean, I know a friend of mine who's, you know, he's pulling in almost 50k a year in his household. I think it's about 50k. No, it's about 40k. Sorry, in his household, and he can't afford to live. Whereas you cast your mind back 20 years ago, and if you were on the equivalent to that, you'd have been very comfortable. You'd have been having holidays and all sorts of stuff. Nothing is falling in line, but we have to take those all into consideration. And the reason I mentioned about work-life balance so importantly at the start of this was because that drew into today. So why didn't I do a podcast yesterday, you say? I wasn't being lazy at all. I treated yesterday like it was an additional Saturday for me. So I always knew I was going to jump on today to do what I do and what I enjoy to do because I know it works. But I had to I gained an extra day though. It was a free day for me there. And that free day turned into a relaxing day, doing a little bit of decorating and just having a bit of fun in my household, going out for a family walk. It came with extra bits. Now, did I want to do a podcast last night? Mentally I did because it was Sunday. But physically, no. I was sat down. had beautiful family fajitas, and we watched a family movie. That was more important to me, because that to me is my work-life balance. And those are the decisions I wouldn't have made and didn't make before. I didn't make those decisions. Just like I didn't make the decisions to go out with my friends or go out on a Wednesday. I would sit there and do nothing for 2 to 3 weeks and have a one-dayer, rather than saying, dude, why are we just not meeting up, mate, and just fucking going playing a bit of pool and snooker and just chewing the fucking fat, mate. And it'll grow from there, and it will grow from there, because we'll build up a social gathering and we'll become a little bit more emphasis. It'll get to the point where it doesn't wrap up at 7:30, it wraps up at 9, and we're doing a couple of extra nights, whatever. It'll grow, it will manipulate and nurture into something different. But I've started something. We've started something. Just like I started this podcast over a year ago. That my goal this year, and I spoke about it. I never heard from all of you listeners out there what your goals were, but hopefully you've been maintaining your goals. I have. My main goal this year was work-life balance. That was my main goal, to get the right work-life balance, put in to everything what I'm getting out. So if I'm going into work and I'm sat there and I'm just, I'm not getting, or I'm being asked more than what I'm being paid for, no, I'll just say no. I'm not doing that. It's out of my remit. It's out of my remit because you're not challenging me on it. And then they look at you. Well, no. Same as home. I shut off at work unless I'm doing something. I want to build the flexi up in my work environment to benefit me and my family. No, I shut that fucking laptop down, and then my work-life balance is there. And if they turn around and say, well, James, but you didn't do this, or this hasn't been done. There's not enough time in the day, mate. So you need to look at what you're giving me. And it's as simple as that. And then if you've got the abilities, and what I've done is upskill myself to the point where I've made an impact for a year and upskill myself. So I know my worth. And I know my worth is more now than it was a year ago. So I look at them and go, and you know this. And I look at them and in the eye and I go, you know this, don't you? And they go, yes, we do. But we need more because we want to succeed. Oh, I don't care. If you want more, you need to promote me, mate. Well, this is what I'm being paid to do. This is my level. This is where I'm at. And I do that with everything. I do that with my friendships now. I do it with my relationships. I even do it with my family. And I know it sounds harsh, but I do it with my daughters. My daughters are knobheads to me. I'll just ignore them and go move on. And then they'll come up to me and say, Padre, because they call me Padre. We're Padre and Madre. They study Spanish at school, and I love it. I think it's great. And I turned around and said, no, you were a knobhead the other day. Oh, yeah, no. And I fuck off. You're literally not getting away with being a knobhead. If I've got to subdue my fucking anger and everything else and control my emotions, why the fuck can't you control your emotions towards me? Irrelevant, erroneous. I say erroneous. So I say that, and that's when it bites them back. And I do that with everything now. If you're not interested, and I've always maintained, I'll invite you to something 3 times. And that's it. If there's no invite 3 times, that's it. Fucking clearly, I'm not worth it. And since I've done that, I'm getting through life this year, and it makes it sound fucking horrible. I'm getting through life. I don't like saying getting through life because that isn't true. We should be enjoying life, but I'm starting to enjoy life because I said it's never going to happen overnight. Okay, it's never going to happen overnight. Whether irrelevant of your journey being at the start of this journey, or we all going to complete things at different ways because we're all on a different path. Hopefully you've all understood that you should be on a different path now. You should be on the path that's right for you. And that path that's right for you should be positive and should be focused around the right people around you. If you've not got the right people around you supporting you as much as they can, bearing in mind we've all got our own workloads, we've all got our own life loads, but at the same time, if they're displaying the fact that they could have helped you and haven't given you the time when they should have given you the time, all of these factors, then they're on the wrong path for you. And you need to remove that toxicity from you. I said it straight off the fucking bat. Yes, I'm excited. You need to remove that from you. And that's your problem. You need to do that. Same as everything. Like I said, everything it comes in spells. You have to give yourself that goal that year. And I'm not talking about New Year's Eve resolutions. I'm not talking about that bullshit. I'm talking about give yourself that goal. I said it to you. One of my most successful podcasts was the one I said, men need purpose. Because we do. And that's an individual thing. You need to give yourself purpose. If you don't give yourself purpose, you're going to have nothing to succeed for. And I'm talking about little wins. I'm talking about, and do you know, it's really fucking hard. It is really hard. It's like my artwork, for instance. That's gone right off the bat. Because I can't physically afford to fucking keep making the new ones, and I never generated enough interest when I could afford it. It's difficult. It's slow going, but again, it's about sticking to it, isn't it? Oh, sorry, hold on. Yeah, it's about sticking to it, and I think that's the important aspect of that. Is I'm sticking to everything, so I'm just doing little and often of everything. Little bit of artwork. My podcast, a little bit of podcast, giving my family the right time they deserve, getting as much out of my friendships as I can, and really enjoying life. Because if there's nothing to look forward to, what's the point? If you're just going to bumble your way through fucking life and sit there and just fucking, eat, drink and be merry for the rest of your fucking life, fair play. The merry aspect will subside. Because you need to nurture those right things around you. Give yourself those little goals. And that's what I said to you. My aspect this year was to retrain my brain. So I retrained it last year to say, right, stop looking at life so fucking negatively, James. Stop assuming that this is negative. Stay away from these toxic people that are... And I don't mean they are naturally toxic, because... Again, I think this is a to underpin that word, toxic. They may be not toxic as a person, but they may be toxic to you because we're not balanced. We're not aligned. We're not physically or mentally or emotionally aligned. And it's a real key point, that. And I know that's probably like, my daughter would say, "Don't deep it, Dad." Because I'm not fucking deep in it. I'm not going in. I'm not over analyzing this and making it sound bigger than it fucking is. What I'm talking about is, it's I don't know. I'm trying to explain it in the right way. It's just trying to make it look like it's you've got to do everything with the right purpose. Do you know what I mean? You've got to not overthink things, but you've got to have the right goal for the right situation and have the right people around you. Not overthink it, but they just might not be right for you. So you need to move them aside because, like I said to you, cast your mind back. I'm chucked in a room with 20 men. I don't know who they are. We've just joined up together. We're all in the fucking same boat. We're all a little bit fucking anxious because we've just been pulled away from our fucking homes. Majority of us for 16, 17-year-olds. You've got people that have from all walks of fucking life, all over the country, different backgrounds, some dragged up, some fucking, literally fucking some hoity-toities and the posh end. And we had all of them in this one room, 20 of us. And also, I will caveat, you're in a block. And in that block it's three fucking, so there's 2 rooms on each floor with 20 men and 3 up. And that's just your block. But none of you know who the fuck you are. Maybe the 1 or 2 friends in there that have come from a similar place and joined up at the same time. But that's a real rarity. And you've got to go through life, and you're not going to get on with every single person. But I wouldn't sit there and go, "There's mate boy Graham." After we'd fucking had a fight, we just acknowledged as men, we're just like, "Mate, we just don't like each other." It's as simple as that. I just think you're a knob. You fucking think I'm a knob, I think you're a knob. And we're probably very similar in our personalities. We were very, both outlandish. He was just a little bit of a wide boy, so I think he was brought up differently. He was from Doncaster, and nothing against anything in Doncaster, but it's a bit of a rougher end than I've had down in Salisbury. For me, we are from completely different backgrounds but very similar personalities. So we clashed, and he wanted to be the fucking, the big I am, and his insults were a little bit more personal than a bit of banter, and I just went, "Fuck you, I'm not having that, mate. Fucking bosh." So I don't condone violence in any way, shape or form, but that's what men do. So nurture the right people around you that want to be on the right path with you, that want to enjoy that path with you. That's a really, really important part there, because it won't work. It won't work. And I want to give you another minefield, actually, just before I wrap up. So because I'm just conscious of the time, and this is another mental health minefield. So I said something the other day. I was on this Teams meeting and with an absolutely amazing friend of mine at work, and he's absolutely spot on. He really is a good guy, and he's very he's into his diversity and the LGBTQ plus. I think I've said that right. Community and all that sort of stuff. And I know he's also, because he did struggle. He came out as homosexual, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it is a bad thing, because like I said, he's an absolutely amazing guy, but he's very shy as well. So he's had a bit of a rough time, being able to sort of, been able to present himself as being homosexual in a bit of a weird world, isn't it, when you're trying to do that? I don't really understand it because I've never lived that through, but I've heard his story and we have spoken. And I said something the other day, and not in a racist term or any way, shape or form, but what I mean is this is just a bit of a mental health minefield. I find it very difficult with life as well at the moment, and it was more of a mute point, more of a point to why it's so fucking dangerous out there. But I said to this guy, he said, I'll Skype you, and he Skyped me, and as soon as he Skyped me, I pressed the fucking button. I was like, hey, all right, because we were he was helping me, so I was obviously really over enthusiastic because I was doing a project I was really invested in. I wanted it to work, and me with the ADHD fucking took over, and I was like, yes, this is going to be fucking amazing. I'm going to produce bar graphs. He was fucking giving me the dopamine high I need, going, James, this is going to fucking show this and this, and he was showing me examples. I was like, oh my god, can we change colours? He was like, yes. I was like, fucking hell, mate. Oh, you giving me orgasms here. Not in a sexual way, but I was excited. Fucking dopamine was. And anyway, so as soon as he said I'll Skype you, I've done something else to this graph and worked out how to pull it out of the system using Power BI. I fucking said, all right, mate. So he rang me, and when he rang me, he goes, I pressed it straight away, and I was like, oh, sorry, my computer's doing its own random things. And I think it's, still recording, sorry. And I was sat there and I was like, really excited. And I said to him, all right, mate. He said, I was there straight away, mate. And he was like, what? I said, I was there straight away. And he was like, what? I was on it like white on rice. Now I thought that was, and he went, what'd you say? And I went, I was on it like white on rice. And he went, and then moved on. And when you instantly offend somebody, and I was like, have I fucking offended him? I was like, shit, is that a fucking term I shouldn't say anymore? I don't know. I genuinely, because it's like, you've got to remember, I'm born in the 80s. And I genuinely had to sit there, and I was like really over enthusiastic, like fucking right. And then I had to, I went away, and me and my mate were talking about it on Friday. And he was like, he Googled it. He was like, no, it's actually as in, it's a proper term as in like white on rice, because it's all coated all over, and it's one of just an old saying, but there is nothing in it racist at all. But when you think to yourself, and I genuinely panicked because I thought to myself, fuck, I genuinely wasn't trying to be in any way, shape or form, racist. I wasn't going to fucking do a Jeremy Clarkson on us anyway. And I was like, sat there and I was like, shit, but that's another mental health minefield, isn't it? And we talk about these all the fucking time, and you're like going, shit, have I almost been, because obviously, if you said an old saying, it just rolled off the fucking tongue, because I was like, it's the same as if I say, oh yeah, I'm starving, mate, I'll eat anything, and they go, yeah, so, oh mate, I'm gonna smash that and eat it. I'm like a tramp on a bag of chips. Now I could look at that as two things. Again, it was just a funny saying from my youth, tramp on a bag of chips. But then I look at the side, and obviously I know that that's going to probably offend certain people, because they'll be like, well, it's not their fault, they're a fucking tramp and all this. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't know what to fucking do. But it was interesting that worried me. I had anxiety then for 2 or 3 hours. And I was like, am I Googling the right fucking things? Should I have said it? Have I fucking said something I shouldn't have done? And turns out I was okay. I was fine. But it really, really is a mental health minefield out there, just going through life. So please remember that. Please, and if you're going to take anything away from the podcast today, take away from the fact that it is a mental health minefield naturally. Naturally, it is a mental health minefield. It's not a massive amount we can do about it, apart from if we do the right things in ourselves, nurture the right friends, engage with the right people, promote positivity, look after our health and well-being as ourselves, get the right amount of sleep, do hobbies, socialise a little bit, but do everything in the right moderation. No one knows what there's no fucking formula for what the right moderation is. You have to decide what makes you happy. but what makes everyone else happy around you. So it's finding that balance. And if you're giving something that's more than you're receiving, if you are giving more, then stop. Like, fucking stop now. Because I guarantee that is one of the things that is one of those thorns in the side that's getting infected. And you haven't pulled the thorn out yet. That's one of those. I know it will be. It might be a case of you fell in a fucking bramble bush, and at the moment we got to fucking unpick every single one of those fucking thorns before they get infected. It might be the case of that, but let's do it together. That's the important bit. But we can all start by, if you look around you right now, and if something, you're not happy listening to this, and something is wrong, and you can't get past it, and you don't think that it's going to get better because you'll know by now, and it's making you miserable, stop. Just fucking stop. Start making your decisions in life. Otherwise, you're going to just get angry and bitter and fucking hate life, and then you're going to pass that on to other people. You're going to walk into work and be a fucking bellend. You're going to come home and be a fucking bellend, dad, husband, wife, whatever, son, mother, fucking brother, sister, fucking whatever. You're going to be a knobhead. You're not going to do the right things. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Some things aren't manageable. Some things we can't manage. But what we can do is open up and talk about the things we can't manage, to share those problems, to half those problems. Maybe someone will have a solution for you. I had that. I had a financial solution, and that was bailed out by my friend. And now I have this nice little sideline job that is giving me extra money. And, you know, for me, I worked a fair few extra hours last month, and that was able to give me a little bit of extra cash to help pull down a few things and help me get myself on the straight and narrow. That's the important bit. I'm doing the right things. But I wouldn't have said that. That wouldn't have happened unless I said to my mate, can you get me some? Can you get me a bit of that? Slice that cake, mate. That's the important bit. And he was like, yes, man. Here you go. Fucking contact this. Let's get the ball rolling. That's the important part, okay? So, or do all these things, mental health, Minefield, do them all and look after yourself, all right? I love talking to you. I'm going to get another cut. I've got some good podcasts this week, actually, because I'm out tomorrow and I'm out Thursday, so I'm probably going to dive on Wednesday night and have a good chin wag with you as well, because I've got some good stuff that's come up through just through me learning through life. So nothing spectacular, but just that's all spectacular. I love it. But look after yourself. Take care, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon. Take care, everyone.